She described how her mom was diagnosed at the age of 64 but had been experiencing symptoms for some time beforehand. Discussing what she observed of her mom's behavior, she continued, "She forgot something quite huge, something between me and her, and I just knew in that moment that it was something she wouldn't have forgotten." Charley remembered people telling her she was being dramatic, but she knew instinctively that something was amiss. She continued, "Mom was very on the ball with things, and it was just something she dropped, and I thought, there's just something that's not quite right." Offering advice to viewers, she added, "I wouldn't delay getting the diagnosis because the process is quite long, especially for someone who is younger. Do not take no for an answer," she insisted, disclosing they weren't always listened to by medical professionals and that her mom had initially been diagnosed with a water infection, which might have contributed to her memory difficulties. Charley's mom now resides in a care facility, explaining it was not possible to continuously care for her mother at home without specialist support. "It's such a relief," she continued. "It's a massive decision, but once you make that choice and see them in a healthy environment." Speaking about her mom's current condition at 75, she added, "She's okay. She has some good days, some not good days." Charley had courageously opened up about her mom's dementia struggle in 2023 during a This Morning interview, revealing at the time, "There was no support, no help. It was shocking, actually. And for me and my siblings, it has been 8 years of hell. She's now gone into a home, and it was the hardest decision we've ever had to make." She went on, "It's difficult. It's hard. It was stressful. She had a big personality. She was much wilder than me. She would stay up until 4 in the morning with my friends, so seeing that decline was awful. I think she was in denial. She was young. She was 64. She never wanted to go to the doctors for anything. They looked for everything else. They checked her thyroid, did tests, because I don't think they thought it was that." Charley poignantly discussed watching her mom slip away right before your eyes, explaining, "That's the hardest thing, because you grieve for the person they were. She's like a little girl now, and it's taken me a long time to be able to talk about it. It's such a personal and big thing, but it feels like now is the right time. 1 out of 2 of us will get dementia or care for someone with dementia. If we can do something about it now, we should." Charley still remembers the exact moment when the unease settled in her chest, quiet but undeniable. It wasn't dramatic. There was no sudden collapse, no frightening incident that sent her rushing to the hospital. It was a pause, a gap where something precious should have been, a memory her mom should never have forgotten. Something deeply personal, something woven into the fabric of their relationship. When her mom looked at her, confused and distant, Charley felt it instantly. This wasn't normal. This wasn't stress or tiredness. This was something else entirely. Her mom was 64 at the time, still relatively young, still fiercely independent, still the woman who had always been sharp, capable, and endlessly present. She had always been on the ball, the sort of person who remembered birthdays without reminders, who kept track of everyone's lives, who noticed the smallest details. Forgetfulness simply didn't belong to her. So when she forgot something so huge, something that defined part of their bond, Charley knew with a certainty that frightened her that this wasn't just a lapse. At first, people didn't take Charley seriously. Friends, acquaintances, even some family members brushed off her concerns. They told her she was being dramatic, that everyone forgets things, that stress and age can play tricks on the mind. But Charley couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. It gnawed at her, growing stronger with each small incident that followed. Her mom would lose track of conversations, repeat herself, misplace things in odd places. Each moment alone seemed insignificant, easy to explain away. Together, they formed a pattern Charley couldn't ignore. Mom was very on the ball with things. It was just something she dropped, and I thought, there's just something that's not quite right. The hardest part was the waiting,
the long, exhausting stretch of time between suspicion and confirmation. Dementia does not announce itself loudly. It creeps in quietly, disguising itself as ordinary forgetfulness, as mood changes, as confusion that can be blamed on anything else. Charley pushed for answers, urged for Mum to see doctors, to get tested, but her mum resisted. She was young, only in her mid-60s, and she never liked going to the doctors. She didn't want to believe anything was wrong. Medical appointments came and went, tests were done, doctors looked for other explanations first. They checked her thyroid, did tests, because I don't think they thought it was that. Charley poignantly discussed watching her mum slip away right before your eyes, explaining, "That's the hardest thing, because you grieve for the person they were. She's like a little girl now, and it's taken me a long time to be able to talk about it. It's such a personal and big thing, but it feels like now is the right time."
Looking back, Charley would say one thing above all else: don't delay getting a diagnosis. The process is long, she learned, especially for someone younger. Every delay costs time, time that could be used to plan, to access support, to understand what lies ahead. Do not take no for an answer, she insisted. She had learned the hard way that persistence is often necessary. Dementia, particularly early-onset dementia, can be overlooked or misattributed. But instincts matter. Family members notice changes that charts and short consultations can miss. Eventually, the diagnosis came: dementia, a single word that shattered everything they thought they knew about the future. It explained so much, yet offered no comfort. There was grief in that moment, not just for what was happening, but for everything that was about to be lost. Charley's mom had always had a big personality. She was vibrant, wild, full of life. She was the mom who would stay up until 4 in the morning with Charley's friends, laughing and talking as if age meant nothing. She was fearless, social, endlessly energetic. Seeing that woman begin to fade was devastating. "It's difficult, it's hard, it was stressful," Charley would later say. She had a big personality, so seeing that decline was awful. The decline didn't happen all at once. It unfolded slowly, day by day, stealing pieces of her mom in ways that were both subtle and cruel. Some days she seemed almost herself, sharp, engaged, present. On other days she was distant, confused, frightened. Dementia does not move in a straight line. It wavers, advances, retreats, and advances again, leaving families constantly off balance. For Charley and her siblings, there was little support in the early years. They felt abandoned by a system that seemed unprepared to help a relatively young woman with dementia and her family. There was no support, no help, Charley said during a 2023 interview. It was shocking, actually, and for me and my siblings, it has been 8 years of hell. Caring for her mom became all-consuming. Dementia doesn't just affect the person diagnosed, it reshapes the lives of everyone around them. The emotional toll was immense. Watching her mom slip away right before her eyes was the hardest thing Charley had ever faced. "That's the hardest thing," she explained, "because you grieve for the person they were." Grief, she learned, doesn't wait for death. It arrives early, settling into everyday moments. It's there when you realize they no longer remember a shared joke, when they look at you with confusion instead of recognition, when you have to explain the same thing over and over again. It's the grief of losing someone in pieces, slowly, relentlessly. Over time, Charley noticed how her mom's personality shifted. The strong, independent woman she had known became vulnerable, dependent, childlike. "She's like a little girl now," Charley said quietly, acknowledging how painful it had been to accept that reality. For a long time, she couldn't talk about it at all. The pain was too raw, too personal. But eventually, she felt the time was right to share her story. As her mom's needs grew, it became clear that caring for her at home was no longer possible. Dementia requires specialist support,
round-the-clock supervision, structured routines, trained carers who understand the complexities of the disease. Making the decision to move her mom into a care facility was one of the hardest choices Charley and her siblings ever had to make. There was guilt, of course, doubt, fear, questions that haunted them late at night. Were they doing the right thing? Were they giving up? Would their mom feel abandoned? But once the decision was made, something unexpected happened. Relief. It's such a relief. It's a massive decision, but once you make that choice and see them in a healthy environment. In the care facility, her mom received the support she needed, support that had been impossible to provide at home without specialist training. The environment was structured, safe, and designed to meet her needs. Slowly, Charley began to see that this wasn't a failure, it was an act of love. Now, at 75, Charley's mom lives in that care facility. Her days are unpredictable. She's okay, Charley says gently. She has some good days, some not good days. On the good days, there are smiles, moments of recognition, flashes of the woman she once was. On the bad days, there is confusion, withdrawal, silence. Charley has learned to treasure the good days without expecting them, to accept the bad days without resentment. Dementia has taught her patience she never knew she had, resilience she never asked for, and a depth of empathy that has reshaped how she sees the world. Speaking publicly about her mom's journey hasn't been easy. Dementia is deeply personal, often hidden behind closed doors. But Charley believes that sharing her story matters. It matters because too many families feel alone. Too many people are dismissed when they raise concerns. Too many diagnoses come too late. There was denial, Charley reflected. Her mom didn't want to believe it could be dementia. Neither did the doctors at first. They looked for everything else, she said. I don't think it was that. That hesitation, she believes, cost them valuable time. Today, Charley uses her voice to urge others not to wait, not to doubt themselves, not to accept dismissal when something feels wrong. Dementia is not rare. It is not distant. It touches nearly every family in some way.